some drones to show off. Maybe not in this case. Can you all see this larger brood right here? Their sole purpose in life is to mate with the queen. Drones have to be very well pampered because they have to spend a lot of idle time waiting for a very specific task.
So they're not doing anything in the meantime?
I mean, you can't say they're doing nothing. They do stuff. They fly up in the sky. They hang out and wait for queens to fly by. They try to outrace other drones. You
Nice
know?
life.
They got big eyes and they use them to see like long distances, and they have to stay well fed, and they have to, you know, keep up on their flight muscles.
That's cool.
That's it.
I got the like.
Yeah. Drones have they work.
This one's got his wings all sticky. I think that's what's irritating him.
Okay, he can't fly because he's sticky. If he's put it back in here, they'll clean it off.
Natalie did.
Yeah.
This is a very nice brood comb. A little bit spotty, but that's because they put nectar everywhere. Looks like as they're cleaning stuff out, she's putting more in.
When you say swarm, what does that mean exactly?
A swarm is a reproductive cycle for bees, so they'll... John? Hang on just a second. Yeah, I got some, so they're attracted to me right now. So when bees swarm, the old queen flies off with 75% of the hive, and they go to find a new home where they create a new hive. They'll build all fresh combs and start over, laying all new eggs. And then they'll go through several brood cycles, which is what you see from the uncapped brood, the capped brood, the whole like egg to bee being born is a brood cycle. And John, can you come back with that, please? If you don't want to hang out here, I can just keep it. They're on me pretty intensely right now. It's good to kind of get them to go inside and stop paying attention to you sometimes.
You want this to stay here?
As long as you're close, you can go somewhere else. Well, it's interesting when I work around bees and other people, you know, because bees are picking up on all kinds of stuff right now. And while I'm trying to have conversations and I'm, you know, showing off their combs and passing them around, they're having their whole other communication with me, which is, I can't really share all that with you, you know. And so what I'm experiencing when I'm doing this, a lot of times if I take moments to be quiet, is it's a refocus of my energy. Because if I'm too present with you, then I'm not present with them. So they remind me of like, what are you doing here? These workshops are great for me to do. Oh, shucks.
Oh, no.
It happened anyway. Right. Catherine, I'll let you handle that.
All good.
You can definitely hear a different sound coming when something happens inside the hive. You hear, it's like a knock.
Start making noise.
Like more of a their little engines get revving.
Are fire ants a problem?
Yes. Not so much for the bees, but for their tenders.
Oh,
The fire ants seem to leave the bees alone for the most part unless they're weak. You know, like there's something wrong with them or their combs are already kind of getting contaminated by something else. But overall, fire ants just bite people. It's not fun to get bit.
It's less fun than being stung, for sure.
Oh, totally. I make jokes about wanting to get stung 10 times more than one fire, you know, like I'd much rather take bee stings, but you know, bee stings hurt too. Like I make it look easy, but they hurt.
yeah, but I think there's some studies that show that the bee sting is actually good for you, especially MS patients.
It is very good for you. I welcome it as a medicine. as painful as it can be. It's no easy way to do this, you know, you got sticky, squished bees. It's not so much fun for them or for me. Doing a cutout from a house, this is all you do. You hope that they don't fall. You cut them into your hand, but you're cutting combs full of bees and moving them out of the structure. It's a lot of work. When I first started getting into beekeeping, people tried to get me to do those things for free, like for the bees. They're like, can you come and pull these bees out of my wall? And I was like, well, I think I need to charge for that. And they're like, oh no, I don't want to pay for it. I just want you to come get the bees. And I did it like 2 or 3 times before I said, I don't want your bees. You know? Because a lot of times people won't call you until the bees are sick or they've swarmed.
There's a bee on your neck.
Do you want water for your hands at all?
I will, but I'm okay right now. Notice I'm not flicking them in the hive anymore. They're too sticky. So now these bees will clean themselves off.
Yeah, if you want to bring the smoke, there's one on your
And then
desk this way.
they'll make their way back up into the
Smoke
hive.
this one.
If they're not, that one's fine.
That one's fine.
Yeah, you don't want to aggravate them if they're just hanging out.
So when you harvest, what do you do with the wax?
Well, the wax can go into a wax melter and be turned into candles or salves. Different things you want to use wax for.
What's the best way to clean it up?
Sorry. This is a really challenging part of this job I'm doing right now. These bees are all over these like melting combs, so I need to be a little bit focused. If you guys could ask me questions in like 5 minutes and remember what they were, that'd be awesome. I feel their panic, I feel their stress, like their house is falling apart.
Looks like they're doing pretty well. They're not really too agitated.
No, they're very sweet bees. Luckily, all these hives I found to be really hygienic and strong have all been really nice. I don't know if that's because they've always been so loved or if I've just been blessed with super nice bees. I'm not trying to analyze it, I'm just happy about it. You know?
As we're harvesting, you guys can't see this because you're too far away, but Jen will, like where there's uncapped nectar, if there's honey on the other side, you can cut away the nectar side from the honey side because there's a midrib. Is that what you call it? Mm-hmm. Midrib in the middle. Nectar has to go in the fridge. The honey can go wherever.
Yeah, so in like this situation, this is a lot of nectar next to honey, and the other side is honey. You don't have to lose all this honey, but you don't want all that nectar in with your honey. So what you can do, like she was saying, see the line down there? There's a wax wall between the two. So you can cut it like this. Cut it like this so that just the nectar is being harvested. So then I'm left with all honey cells, and I can scrape all this nectar off. And the ratio is like 70-30, so if you were to get 30% nectar in with your honey, it's not likely to go bad. But where this has been conflicting for me when I've hired people in my bee yards before is that means that every comb they pull out, they might have that 70-30 ratio. So in the long run, is my stuff going to be full of nectar? Yeah. You know, like if they're constantly going by that eyed out figure, it tends to be too much. So better try not to get nectar in your honey. And if it happens, like a little bit does, it's not going to go bad. But minimize how much you get in there.
So this is honey. It's got a white cap on it. Nectar is an open cell.
Oh, it's always open.
Yeah, because they haven't dried it out and sealed it yet.
I started noticing that I was having health issues, and I started to clue into why. I noticed when I eat certain sweet treats, I get sick. I have stomach aches, I have like yeast growth in my body, deal with different health issues that I'm not wanting to deal with. And so I started cutting out sugars and I stopped having those problems. Well, it kind of got boring never to have anything sweet. All I did was enjoy stevia extract and like my teas and stuff. And then I was like, you know, stevia is cool and all, but I'm craving like cookies and, you know, like chocolate, and it just wasn't the same. So I started using honey, And that was back when I was doing like YS honey. Are you guys familiar with that? It's like a honey from Canada. I was really into that honey. That was like the first honey that just got me totally excited about bees. I was like, if bees can make this and it tastes so delicious, I want to know how to do this. And so I think that it's, you know, what your bees can forage on, where you're at, what they have available to them, that's a big effect of what your honey's going to taste like. But how you process it is also a big thing. Like, we don't use the smoker a lot in our home yard. Around groups like this, it's more needed because it's not just about me, it's about us, right? And everybody coming together. And so at home, like, we don't use smoke over honey because smoke taints the flavor of honey. So if you've ever been to like any honey competitions where people have been evaluating different kinds of honey, that you can taste the honey that has had bees mashed in it, or dead bees had been in it before it was filtered, you know, or strained. You can taste the honey that's been heavily smoked. You can taste honey that's been tainted with other chemicals. It's all, once you've tasted pure raw honey that's never been exposed to anything else, you can really taste the difference. You smelled my face. Bees have amazing immune systems though. I mean, just think about what they're exposed to on a regular basis in our environment and the fact that they're still alive. It's pretty impressive, you know. Bees got hit on this island by 2 major pests that had the potential to decimate them, and they figured out how to evolve and adapt, and they've persevered through it. So to me, they're very capable creatures as long as they're given all the right tools to succeed. So at this point, I have hope and I have faith that they have the abilities to figure out how to avoid these things. Like, maybe it's my desire at this point, but I also think that it's very possible that bees will figure out that certain things are contaminated and not forage on them. Just by going and visiting those plants enough, like say that your bees are going to the neighbor's yard and your neighbor sprays Roundup on a regular basis. I think that eventually, once the bees have tried to graze on those flowers a few times, it's going to become clear that I get sick when I go to this flower. Just like for me, I get sick when I eat wheat flour. When I eat like starchy stuff, I get sick. Now, I might try to eat different things over and over again because they taste good, but eventually my body just kind of has this like disclosure, don't eat that, you're going to get sick, right? So I believe the bees have that same knowing that if something is bad for them, stay away from it. And because I've seen my bees survive, and I'm surrounded by orchid farms, and I'm surrounded by papaya fields, and I'm surrounded by macnut farms, like it's everywhere all around us in this agricultural place. So the fact that bees are surviving so well with these conditions tells me that they're already figuring it out.